Good afternoon. This is Tawana with Love You More. And as I promised, we're going to talk about being shipwrecked and what that looked like for me. See, the thing is, for me, when I was born, and any child, I think, didn't come into the world knowing what life was about. So all we had was to mimic life, or even to try to have some kind of idea, was to learn from the people that were in our life, and that very significant people, which is our family of origin. You see, we learn how to love, how to speak or not speak, how to understand or not understand from those people. And me, being me, I was the first grandchild that was born in the house. I had in my maternal grandmother's house. My mom was a young mom, and she had siblings living there with her too still. And being the eldest cousin, I loved my little cousins, which were my siblings too. And I didn't know what self-love was, self-regard, self-respect, having a voice. We were so coddled as children, which the adults in our life are well-meaning people. They only could parent or rear and raise us according to the information that they received and their family of origin. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, I was in a situation where I couldn't really define who I was. Everybody else told me how I should be, how I should look, how I should dress, how I should speak, how I should respond, how I should act, all of those things. And quite naturally so when you're growing up. But some of those things were not my true self. And so because of that, that has an effect on our relationships with other people. And even going into adulthood, we take that childlike perspective into our relationships. And we expect that type of experience with other people that we get to meet in our future. You know, and we want to mimic that experience. And that's what shapes our connections, right? Or maybe they're not connections. But here's the thing. The realness of life is, if God breathe his ruach into us, his spirit, that means we are vessels for God, right? So in essence, we are God experiencing life in the physical realm, right? So with that being said, we should hold grace not only for ourselves, because we're good lawyers for ourselves and judges for others. We should hold space and grace for other people to be who they choose to be as they're learning and unlearning some things. See, childhood is one thing. Children are like narcissists. Everything has to go their way. It's about them. We know that. But how often do we take that childlike perspective, those lenses into different relationships, and we get offended when people don't respond or react or treat us the way we think they should treat us? Or we want to move away from everything and everybody we deem toxic. But here's the real hard truth that I had to come to terms with. Life doesn't happen to me. Life happens for me. And those people or situations that we call bad really is just the sandpaper to get us to evolve and grow. See, there is no comfort in the growth zone and no growth in the comfort zone. Now, if you're a person that chooses to be comfortable, then your tribe will be people that will make you safe and won't push you to grow or step out there. And see what I just talked about, coddling? People get so offended by how people respond to situations and not knowing and paying attention to the person that is coming from. If you know that person loves you and you know that person's character, you should know that that person is well-meaning in their delivery. You understand where I'm coming from? See, as adults, we want other adults to parent us and coddle us the way our parents did, and that's not fair. That's not another person's job or role in your life to parent you and coddle you. No. Why would you want that from another adult anyway? That puts a strain on your relationship and your connection and your involvement. And trying to change somebody to fit you, that's not authentic or genuine either. That's not fair. That's one-sided. That's not a two-way street. If you can accept somebody who they are, the way they are at that time, and then you guys have a discussion about growth and evolving and stuff like that, that's a different story. But you have to accept people that on the level that they know that they're on. Okay? And you don't try to change them. Just be the change. Be the change. It's time for us who need to continue to parent ourselves, because we need more adults showing up in life. We have children. There's always a boom of babies being born every millisecond, but they need adults. We need to adult. That's just the way I see it. This is from my perspective, my viewpoint. See, relationships can either be beneficial to you, no matter if they're harsh, brutal, or whatever, and you learn the valuable lesson in that and allow that to show you how you should be, or you can play the victim and be shipwrecked like I was. I was so shipwrecked, disappointed when I grew up thinking that my mom was this perfect being and she couldn't make a mistake, because she too was evolving and growing, and she will continue to do that as long as she's in the physical. See, something that a friend of mine said this weekend, which was so beautiful. She has a very present father, but my dad is only present when he deems necessary, and that's okay. She said that's because you see your dad as a person. You see your parents as people and not titles. That's how I can love my daddy the way he chooses to show up. However he decides to show up. That's how I can mend our quote unquote factory relationship that I consider shipwrecked me, even with my mom and other people that I consider shipwrecked me. See, everything can be good and work out for your good if you change the way you look at it. Because when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's all about perspective and the perspective you choose to hold. So I'm no longer shipwrecked. I'm just a lifelong learner. And I learn by observing people. And I learn by living from the inside out and not being wholeheartedly affected every time something or somebody didn't do or say things the way that benefited my emotions. See, we have to be emotionally whole and anchored inside if we're going to live life, because life is an emotional roller coaster. If you're not anchored, it will have you up one day and down the next. It'll have you fighting somebody or feeling some kind of way or heavily triggered. See, it's not what people say to you. It's that inner child who's still shipwrecked, who's triggered, that causes you to react, respond, or be shipwrecked. I hope this video found you wanting to grow, know more, and become your higher self. Let me park right there. I'm part of a company that's called Love You More. It's a personal development life coaching company, and we have very capable and knowledgeable certified coaches in many different areas. We've also co-authored a book called Love You More, which is the name of our company. It can be found, and I'll make sure I put this in the comments, in the title, on loveyoumore-indie.com. Our book is also on Amazon, and I'll put this in my face because I want you to get this. Co-authoring this book was amazing. It's why I can stand in front of you confident, because I stepped into the deep as a water walker and co-authored this book with 3 other phenomenal women on our journeys to loving ourselves more, because we have to show up. The world needs us. You have to show up as is and evolve into who you should be. The highest, best version of yourself. Not perfect, because that's an illusion, but you, the you that you can be. I hope you join us on this journey. Our book can be found on Amazon. We're also on Facebook at Love You More, and on Instagram at Love You More Journey, and on YouTube at Love You More. Thank you for being present with me, and until next time, this is Tawana with Love You More.